what I wanted to kind of talk about today is just like the process and then the work, like the time commitment. I work full time, Monday to Friday, and I usually use Saturdays to kind of relax, clean up a little bit, do my thing. And then Sundays, I really kind of buckle down a little bit and I try to start my meetings because everyone I meet with is in the East Coast. So I start my meetings around like 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then I usually am done with them around like 6 o'clock. So today I got done a little early. The meetings are short, so that was a good thing. But time commitment, man. They always say that, overnight successes rarely happen overnight. It always has to do with the time and the energy that you put into it beforehand. So why is this important for real estate? I've been doing research in real estate for like a year and a half. We're finally at the point, my partners and I, to feel like we can invest in something. We feel a lot more comfortable going out and shopping for loans and getting ready to put a down payment down on a house and choose a home we're ready to renovate and get ready to rent out. We run through models pretty often, actually. So we have a lot of models that we put together in Excel using an aggregate of like a lot of different, home listings and home prices based upon zip code. And so, we're all like engineers. So we decided to make it as database as possible. And so we spend our time going through these different listings and seeing like, all right, this is the average price for this area. This is the quality of the home. What's the lowest on that band? The range of prices. We're looking in Brooklyn right now. And then we check to see like if that price actually makes sense and if we feel comfortable with the numbers we see from an Excel sheet we made that has like, it estimates the mortgage, it estimates the closing costs, operational costs, the rent we should charge based upon zip code and what's normally around for each of the zip codes. Really, this data is very present for Airbnb and rental online. You can just Google by area and you can find like data that tells you how much it is. And then also, if you want to use other websites, you can see what's the average rent going for in these areas and aggregate that data together and say like, all right, this is about standard and we'd want to charge about standard. So we do all of our calculations using that kind of information. And I say that because it's taken a long time to get here, right? Like to be comfortable talking about loans, to be comfortable talking about down payments and what we can expect to see, to be comfortable with the numbers we'll be talking about in terms of like raw cash we have to put up, in terms of like understanding what is a good deal, what's a bad deal, what kind of strategy you want to use to actually purchase the real estate, and whether we're going to use FHA or conventional, or whether we're going to use any other kind of like a hard money loan or something else. And so it's been interesting. And you really start to feel it. Like today was a day I really, really, really did not want to have any meetings. And every Sunday I do like 3 meetings, right? So I have my personal meetings for like projects that I might have together. I'm working on the recruiting agency I talked about. Then I have my meetings for real estate with my partners where we're going to buy a property so we can fix her up and rent it out. And then I also have meetings. Sorry, I had a sign on my phone. Then I also have meetings with my family to talk about how we're converting my mom's, my family home into an Airbnb rental, and also getting everything set up for the tenants we have in that house to have the lease agreements and everything online. So, having these meetings every week when you're already tired from the week, exhausted, like, listen, man, like, I don't even want to do any type of work today. Like, you really just have to know what your purpose is. I find that, I oftentimes work a lot. I definitely am a workaholic. But it's really just like, what's the reason? What's the purpose? And I understand why people are always talking about know your purpose, know your mission, the definiteness of purpose. This book I've been reading, The 17 Principles of Success by W. Clement Stone and Noah Napoleon Hill. It's very interesting. And one of the key points they talk about and the attitudinal principles, right? The kind of attitude you have to have towards success you want to achieve is definiteness of purpose. And really understanding why you're doing this is so, so, so important. If you hear that fan in the background, it's not heat picking on because it's kind of cold out here in the Bay. But yeah, like on these hard days, those hard nights when you're just like, I don't know, like what am I gonna do? Like, is this what I want to do? do I have the energy to keep going? That's when you really have to fall back on your why. Like, why are you doing this? And is this going to help you? Because I was laying in bed just like, I don't even want to get up today. It was like 8 a.m. and I'm like it's Sunday. Why am I up at 8 a.m.? Like, I'm in high school or middle school again, getting ready to go to church in the morning. And I'm just like, this is too much. Like, I had a long day on Saturday. But it really makes a big difference. Because that time, that preparation, the research you get a chance to do, your brain goes into a different mode. You have to find those techniques and tricks you need to use to get yourself productive. Even making this video, right? Like, I didn't necessarily want to make it, but I'm starting to put that time together to say, like, this is important to me, right? Being able to document this and put this information out is huge. And so it takes some time. You have to really focus and you have to really think about it. But I see this series as myself showing the work that goes into getting there. And so, from basically 12 o'clock to 6 p.m., which is now 6 p.m., I was doing meetings, back to back. And then before that, for like 2-3 hours, I was doing prep work of like research, writing documents, setting agendas, and getting the meeting notes ready so that once I actually get into the meeting, it's good and it's set. And so, this is a little bit scattered. The words are a little scattered. I didn't write a script for this episode, or I guess this installment, but I just wanted to talk about that pushing to the next step. And even when you don't want to work, just working anyway, it's really how you achieve anything. It's like in school and work, like, why do they always say like, no, you have to do this? Or like, why do they pay you? Why do they give you grades? It's all just incentive, right? It's incentive with consequences to make you do it. And for some people, it's not enough. Right? For some people, those consequences and incentives aren't enough to get them going. And that's why you'll see them like fail or struggle, because either one, it's not aligned with the goals they want for their lives, or two, they just aren't motivated. They don't have that drive internally to make them going, or maybe they don't have the anxiety or the fear, or, someone else externally pushing them. And for your own personal goals, you need to have that drive and incentive in yourself, right? If you want that incentive that's gonna kick you in the ass and say, you know what, like, okay, it's 8 a.m., like, get up, it's time to go do some work, it's time to get productive. Like, you need to have something that's gonna push you, and that's why your why, like, what are you doing this for, is so important. For me, I'm doing real estate with my family and real estate with my partners because I see that by building generational wealth and by building passive income, which is kind of active now, but building passive income, I'll be able to support and keep my family structured for a long time. Like, for my family, I want to make sure that my mom can get out of debt with this house that she purchased. And then I also want to make sure that, I'm prepared to keep going with this process of renting and Airbnb, where I can get experience right now. I can get experience immediately to do all this stuff. And I don't see why, I wouldn't. Why wouldn't I take that time to do it? And I think that's important to me, setting my family up and being the first one to say like, no, like, I'm going to independently make money. I'm going to set up a revenue stream that doesn't have to be determined by an employer, so that I can have that freedom for my family and for myself to feel comfortable. And that's something that my family doesn't currently have, and isn't something that is really striven for. It's not something that we strive for, or at least didn't previously. It's something that's more talked about. And I'm sure that in a lot of your lives that people talk about it, they say like, oh, this is what we should do, this is an interesting investment, or think about this. And it's like, no, man, like, what do you want to do? What's good for your family? What's going to happen? And I don't see any reason why I can't be the one to do it. And so that's it. That's kind of like my why. Like, I wasn't prepared to work today, but still trying to put in the work. So that's a little bit about real estate. Gonna talk more about my recruiting agency that I'm trying to put together now. But I guess I can kind of get this going. And it's not necessarily an episode about, a passion project or side hustle, but this is more like, how do you find your why? What is your why? What do you do when you get a little bit discouraged? And it takes some time, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it when you put that effort in. So hope you liked it. Hope you guys have a good day, and stay healthy.